More stories. Let's see. So I was talking about firsts before in other videos. My first gig, my first professional gig. How about the first time I played in front of a symphony orchestra? In 2008, not that long ago, I was with the band Babik, and we were definitely the local favorites, regional favorites in the conductor for the Buffalo Philharmonic Orchestra heard us play at a club and near the Symphony Hall. We played about a block from there every week, and came out and he was like, wow, we need to do a show with you guys. So the symphony is trying to be a little more hip sometimes, and they do shows with arrangements to back up rock bands, and after the guy Brent Havens has kind of opened that door for the world. The arranger who we'd had arranged some things for us. So we're doing the music of Django Reinhardt, and we had charts and a show worked out. We had to be with a certain amount of minutes. It's a very tight unionized gig, the Philharmonic and the orchestral world. So we rehearsed how long the show was. Very unusual for us because we jammed and we'd take extra courses whenever we want, but this had to be very structured. We actually had to rehearse how many solos this guy's going to take, how many times you're going to solo. You know, we had to work out the time constraints. We still improvised. The band had never been in an orchestra or near an orchestra before, as I had been, because I was classically trained. Played in orchestras, in some minor league symphonies as a substitute and stuff over the years. And actually knew many of the Philharmonic people in the Buffalo Philharmonic. My main teacher, Dennis Piwarski, was in that symphony. He was not at that point. He's been in the National Symphony in Washington, D.C. for 25 or more years, I think now. But his ex-wife is still in the Buffalo Philharmonic, Chica. And so I knew a bunch of people there, and I was quite comfortable. The band was kind of, very nervous. But, you know, it's funny, when you're ready, and you've earned your stripes. I walked out on that stage, and it was an excitement for sure. You know, you're standing in the backstage door, and you can peek out and see, 4,000 people out there who are mostly waiting to see you. A lot of my family and friends and people I'd known for decades before that were there to support us. And they were thrilled that we were there at that big-time gig. And so you walk out, people are applauding. You know, the orchestra kind of gives us a nod, hey, guys, And we had done one rehearsal with them that afternoon. Or maybe it was the day before, I can't remember. And as the pros go, and the band was shaking their boots, but I was not. And I was home, I realized. It's like, not puffed out chest, but I was like, yes, this is what I've been made for. This was my confident point. True, I was a bit older than the rest of the band. The bass player and I were about the same age, but the other two guys were quite a bit younger. But internally, I thought, this is my moment. And I didn't play nervously. I played very centered, and I thought quite well. Part of me was a bit cocky inside myself. It's like, yes, I got to turn around and said, I'm standing right where Itzhak Perlman stood. I'm standing right where Jascha Heifetz stood. I'm standing right where my teacher stood when he was a soloist in front of this orchestra, Dennis Piwarski. And I am here now, and I have earned this spot. And I was in my mind turning to the people in the orchestra going, ha, I'm up here and you're not. Maybe not the highest attitude there, but as also part of my fight in my life, since I bailed on classical violin school after 2.5 years of being trained to be a symphony player and realizing that I was never going to be happy playing in a symphony. They played the same music the same way every time, and you played the notes they told you to, and I was an improvising musician jamming in the clubs on the bass guitar, and later applied the violin to that world, that jazz fusion world. I was fighting against the rigidity of the classical world forever, and here I was standing in front of them to show, yes, you can be an improviser and be up here on this stage too. So it was a great puff-up moment for me. Not in a super arrogant way, but as a confirming way. I was very happy to be there, and that was a great memory for me. There is some footage of that. The unions and the rules about the orchestra is videotaping is a no-no, but some of our fans had some cell phone footage of that day. It's out there if you'd like to look it up on YouTube as well. And we were dressed up in our tuxes and did the thing. And you can earn your spot. Sometimes it takes many decades to really feel at home and comfortable, but that's where I was, and I wanted to tell you about that. It's a cool little story. 2008, I think it was in March. It was a snowstorm that day too in Buffalo. But people still came. They wanted to see their buddies, the hometown heroes, us, Babik.